Well, good afternoon. I'll be very brief. I think as we know, at the start of July, we named July Public Safety Month here in the city of Little Rock to make certain that our entire city knew how important public safety is to our administration, to our city, as we strive to become the safest city in Arkansas and the safest city in the United States. And so a part of Public Safety Month, we wanted to highlight our Public Safety Summit, where we focused on collaboration efforts, a concerted effort and cooperation between state, federal, and county officials. Today that you have behind me is a demonstration of true partnership between law enforcement here in the city of Little Rock, Central Arkansas, and the state. From having our colonel of our Arkansas State Police, to having the State Prosecutor's Office, the U.S. Attorney's Office, as well as members of the DA community, ATF, U.S. Marshals, and any just about partner that's a part of public safety in this city, this region, and this state. And this demonstrates our commitment of oneness, our commitment of unity, our commitment of making certain that not only are we tough on crime, but that we are smart on crime. And as we focus on building relationships and trust between the community as well as the law enforcement community, it strengthens that trust. So when there's an opportunity to curb crime, which is always an opportunity, that we are putting their best foot forward. And so I'm extremely proud to have these partners here today. But most importantly is we have to always show our admiration, our respect, and our honor to our law enforcement community, because they wake up each and every day to put their lives on the line to protect and serve the citizens of Little Rock, the region of Central Arkansas, and the state of Arkansas. And so on behalf of the city of Little Rock, I want to share my admiration and appreciation to each one of them for what they've done, what they continue to do to make certain that this city is the safest city in the state of Arkansas, and most importantly, hopefully, the United States. Going forward, we'll have Chief of Police Keith Humphrey, who will kind of share what's been going on the past several hours as we've had this summit of state, federal, and county officials here today. Chief Humphrey.
Thank you, Mayor, and I want to take the time to thank all of our law enforcement partners on the federal level, state level, county, and local level. This couldn't be done without this collaboration. The one thing that you look at as a chief of police, what type of partnerships do you have within the community? You look at your private partnerships, but for most part, we look at your law enforcement partnerships, because we all have to work together. This isn't the law enforcement profession that it was 20 years ago. No one's doing their own thing. We're all doing a collaborative effort in order to make our community safe. What we wanted to show today to the citizens of Little Rock and to the citizens of the nation, that the city of Little Rock and the state of Arkansas really believes in this effort of being the safest city in the state and one of the safest cities in America. The only way we can do that is ongoing collaboration. Realizing that we do have issues, realizing that we have to continue to fight those, to address those issues. I think some people believe that law enforcement works 8 to 5. I think they forget that just like criminals, on a proactive level and reactive level, we work 24/7, 365. The men and women of our organizations lose many a night's sleep trying to figure out how to keep our community safe. And so the one thing that came out of this summit today was continuing collaborations, that no one's bigger, no law enforcement agency is larger than the other. I wish you could have just sit down and just heard some of the topics that came up with how can we continue to help each other? How do you know you're being successful? What will it take? We realize that the funding that was once provided to law enforcement is not going to be the same. So we have to come up with creative ideas. Not really reinventing the wheel, just making sure the wheel is stronger and faster in order to address our concerns. We realize that we have to continue to our efforts to reduce violent crime. We understand that. We're committed to doing that. That is going to be not just a local law enforcement effort, but also a community effort. We are going to be transparent. You've heard me talk constantly about 21st century policing. And one of the two first proponents talks about transparency, and it talks about oversight and commitment. And so being able to get out into the community and sharing with the community what the issues are, why we need the help from the community, the importance of having help from the community is going to help us in our efforts. Number two, we're seeing a significant increase in our prosecutions, mainly in working with our federal partners. The word is getting out that if you come to the city of Little Rock, not only will you have the potential of facing state charges, but federal charges, which everyone knows has a harsher bearing on the crime that you commit. We're increasing our federal gun crime charges. That word is getting out. I can tell you that in speaking with staff and speaking with our federal partners, that's a message that a lot of these suspects are putting out there, is that, man, we're gonna do Fed time. I wouldn't do some of the things that we've been doing because we're gonna do federal time. The other thing is we have to continue the cooperation, and I have no doubt in my mind that we will continue to have the cooperation amongst the law enforcement agencies to continue to, not necessarily just from the chief's level or the special agent in charge or the CEO's level of any local law enforcement agencies, but the line level officers, the detectives, the first line supervisors and mid-managers are having these discussions. The other thing I think is very unique is that you're finding local government leaders, the mayors and city board of directors, they're having these discussions also. So it's an all-inclusive process. The other is that we really believe that we're hoping that we receive a grant that we applied for a regional intel center. We think that that's a big plus in helping us with our intelligence when it comes to violent crimes. It also comes back to, we have affirmation that, and you continue to hear me talk about collaboration, you continue to hear me talk about partnership. That was the main thing that was driven home in this summit at the round table. We want to continue to work together. We want to make each other better. And I'll say this again, it's not a single effort, it's a joint effort. And this is just an amazing process that I'm very proud to be a part of getting a commitment from the mayor. Although we do meet on a regular basis, whether it's quarterly, whether it's monthly, the Mayor Scott has assured us that we will do this on an annual basis. And I think this is a good thing for the city, it's a good thing for the partnerships, and it reassures our citizens that we are committed to reducing violent crime. And so at this time, if there are any questions, we'll entertain questions from the audience. Yes,
We talk about the new Regional Gun Crimes Intel Center. Can you tell us a little bit about what that would look like and how it would differ from CID's current gun crimes intelligence?
Okay, I'm gonna let Assistant Chief Wayne Bewley talk about that.
Sure. First of all, I'm for about the last 4 years, I've been over our investigative bureau, and recently with a change, Assistant Chief Hayward Finks is transitioning into that position. But having been there for about the last 4 years, sometime back we created our Little Rock Gun Crimes Intel Unit, which has detectives that work on, are NIBIN certified. We utilize a machine that is at the Arkansas State Crime Lab that everybody in the state uses. It's not always available, it's not 24 hours a day, it's not 7 days a week. And we feel that we've come to the point with our education, the training, and our ability to enter these NIBIN information, these leads, and produce the leads to our detectives, that we need our own system. And we think with the grant that we have out there that we hope to get, that'll allow us the opportunity to purchase our own NIBIN machine. And then with that, we will become a center for Central Arkansas area. That'll be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whether it's us, North Little Rock, Pulaski County. We have something significant that occur in the middle of the night, on the weekend, we can come out and operate that system right there out of Little Rock Police Department. So that's kind of the difference.
So it's making that investigative tool kind of available at any point for most people in this region, right?
Right.
Excellent.
So do we have that grant yet, or when do we find out if we get the
It's supposed to be announced in October 1st. Very competitive grant, but we feel like we're in pretty good shape with the evidence-based that we've submitted for.
With ShotSpotter, we specifically highlighted that today and talked about how useful of a tool it's been over the past couple months. If we don't get that TIPS grant, will our current ShotSpotter go away, or will we, if we do get it, will we expand ShotSpotter's location, the range?
I think, one thing I believe that we're gonna find a way to maintain that resource. I mean, it's too valuable of a resource not to. And that we're always looking at ways to make the city safer and add technology throughout the city. So I think, all of that's open, whatever it takes. Even if the mayor has to pay that out of his own pocket. I think
That's where I'm gonna step in. But here's the thing, one of the things that I know is the things that I don't know. And one of the things that when you realize that, you lean on those that are experienced, knowledgeable, and so in particular as it relates to law enforcement, first and foremost, we have a phenomenal team. And they've spent a lot of time figuring out different ways. How do we not only focus on being tough on crime, but how can we be smart on crime? And so we firmly believe one of those tools in the toolbox is ShotSpotter. It's helped us, and many times when our own constituents aren't allowing us to know that there have been gunshots in particular areas, that ShotSpotter is being as constituent for us. And so we've seen that it's been laser focused in a few mile radius. And we know that there are other cities that are our same size that have ShotSpotters that are a lot broader. And so what we want to figure out is how, whether it's continuing to be a true business developer and identifying more grants to continue to advance that, or focusing on it within our budget. I think anyone that knows me knows how committed I am to the funding of the Little Rock Police Department. We continue to have our focus on figuring out how we can be fiscally responsible on expanding our police department by 100 police officers over the next 4 years. But in the wake of that, you still have to focus on how are you going to address things where you may not need that actual person, and that's where you come into place with ShotSpotter. So ShotSpotter shared a lot of that highlight of how laser focused we are within the community and have that set of eyes, and we are going to be making some trips to Washington, D.C. To make certain that we can identify more U.S. Department of Justice grants to focus on ShotSpotter as well as our body cameras. And so we're going to figure out whether it's from federal resources or grant resources, how do we fund that, in addition to making certain that our budget continues to reflect our priority with law enforcement.
And if I may say just real quick, I believe this can be a model program, what you see here, for other cities in the nation. We may not be the major city with 500,000 or 1 million plus residents, but we are the capital city. And I think people are watching. I think people will learn, will continue to learn, but I have no doubt. I try to remain optimistic that this is going to be a model program for other cities. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, me? Oh, okay. When's the last time that all of these different agencies kind of met at a round table to discuss what you've been discussing?
I think informally it happens all the time, whether it's either one-on-one, but I think, it happens. All of us belong to different professional organizations, so there's opportunities there. But I think this might be one of the first times, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that we've actually let the community know that we're show the community and the state that we're doing it. But there's ongoing dialogue every day.
And then can we say that, I guess after the Power Ultralash shooting, that's when all of these different agencies kind of came together to really work as one, or?
I don't think so. If you go back and you look at the history, I think since 9/11, you've seen more law enforcement agencies work together with federal agencies. And I always say there's 4 components: your federal, state, county, and local. So it's been going on, but I think those relationships just continue to get stronger and stronger on an annual, on a daily basis. So no, I think Little Rock has done a good job because the relationships have been there. And as a chief coming from the outside, that was one of the things that I wanted to know, that there was already an established relationship. So no, this is nothing new. We just continue to get closer and closer.
I have a related question about the IBN Analyst Notebook. Was that a one-time purchase, or will we need the TIPS grant to renew that?
Wayne?
It was the grant allowed us to do that, but you always have a continuation of maintenance agreements and expansion. So a one-time purchase, but clearly there's room for it to expand to a broader use maybe within the department as well, and then the maintenance that goes along with that software.
All right, this will be the last question, if there's any more questions. All right, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.